Hi everyone, welcome to Beauty School, and today we have the absolute privilege to have one of our fabulous consultants, Katrina, who is also an amazing makeup artist, and she's going to teach us today on facial contouring because she's a way better pro at this than I am. So here's Katrina.
Hi guys, so excited to teach you guys about contouring today. It is a lot easier than it sounds. I left the house this morning without contouring and I feel a little blah, so this is great that I get to put it on finally. I do have CC cream on my face and I did put moisturizer on before that as well. So one of the main things before you're getting your foundation, your CC cream, whatever you're wanting to use for the day, make sure that your moisturizer has time to set in, otherwise you're just going to look like really greasy. Yeah, so that's the basic thing that I always tell people to start with is get your moisturizer on and then go on and do your hair so that it has time to soak in. So I have my CC cream on, and it does have a little bit of primer in it. So on my day-to-day, everyday look, I generally don't use the primer. But if I'm going out or something, primer is going to be your best friend, especially in the eye look, and especially under here I get a little bit of wrinkles, or creasing is the actual word for it. So anyway, let's get going into contouring. I am using Mary Kay's pressed powders as my contouring. It's my favorite way. It just gives a really velvety finish. So I will use, I think it is Bronze 2 pressed powder, and I'm using this brush, also made by Mary Kay. So what I like to do is just kind of flatten it so that you have a nice thin line. And you're going to just press, I'll show you. Just hold on a bit here, guys. So this one is my Bronze 2, so I like to go, obviously you can see I make a nice crater out of it, so I go into the side and onto my cheekbone. So you're wanting to follow the tip of your ear to the corners of your mouth. Now if you have a rounder face, you can come down further, but for me I have a very narrow face and already quite dominant cheekbones, so I only bring it to about the middle of my face. So I'll draw a line. Yes, it looks pretty intense, but that's okay. And then I go on to the other side as well. And I'll just let that bake, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not very technical with my terms because, well, just do what I do. And again on your forehead, so if you have a wider forehead, which you can see I have that, I'll bring it in just into the corners. Just brush it in. Get a little hair from the brushes in there. So if you have a small forehead, you don't really need to do this step, but if there's any place that you want to kind of minimize, just deepen it with a darker brown tone. Hazelnut also works really well. I use that one when I go in for my nose. And again, under your chin, just brush it in. It's not too fussy. So now what I like to do is I will take my Ivory 2, I think it's an Ivory 2, and I'll use this brush by Mary Kay, and you can see that I am again just swirling it in there and doing an under cheek bake so that you're creating that definition. So this is what I do for all my brides, all my makeovers, whenever I'm doing anything like that. And even for my day-to-day, this is very typical. The only thing I do different with brides and my professional makeovers and stuff is doing the primers and the foundation and just absolutely everything. So again, in the center of my face, and this will really take away the shine. Same color as my under cheek bake. Centering light into the center of my face and brushing it in under my eye as well. I did put under eye corrector on first because I do suffer from blue veins coming out a little bit. And this is also a great setting powder. I do use that. Now, when we highlight, depending on the level of highlight that you like, I'm not really into the whole laser beam look. That's not my thing. But if you do like really bold highlight, use this it is Beach Blonde. So today we will do a lot of highlight, but this is if you want to really amp it up. So I've got the little brush, getting the color, excuse me, sorry, and I'm gonna warm it up on my finger. Ooh, look at that shine. And just dab it onto the top of my cheekbones is where you want that color. You can bring it down into the apples of your cheeks a little bit and just spread it out. See that? Yeah, that's a bit much for me, but for those of you who like a strong highlight, we'll do one side like this and the other side the way I like it. I just wanted to show you guys another way of using the cream shadows. And if you do have those clients that want a really strong highlight, that this does do the trick. And excuse me, it's smoky outside, so I'm coughing a lot. And again, you want to dab it into the areas where light will naturally reflect. So there, and always do a little on the bridge of my nose. I very seldom will put any highlight at the tip of my nose. Most of us, our noses are turned up somewhat, so we don't need it there. So I just do the bridge of my nose. And Cupid's bow. Hopefully this makes sense to you guys. So then when you go in with lipstick later on, it's going to look amazing. Do you have a Kleenex choice? Thank you. Alright, so done that for now. I will go back in and blend this out. So remember, I'm doing a really strong highlight on this side, and we're going to go in with just the highlight from the Juicy Guava palette, which by the way, if you don't already own it, you need it. You need it. It also works great as an eyeshadow color. Excuse me, sorry, the smoke outside here is just really bad today. Okay, so now I'm going in with our Juicy Guava. Not the actual blush, but I'm going to go in with our highlight shade. Another really good one is Moonstone or Crystalline. They work really well, and if you happen to have the Moroccan Dunes palette from last Christmas, that also, the pink one and the white one, they're really nice highlights. So now we're going to go just on the cheekbone here. It really shines it up. A little much for me, but some people like that. No offense to anyone that does like it. Who cares if I don't? And right along there. So yeah, that's more my style. This is if you just want more. And again right here. So basically you're kind of creating a C. It's not too fussy. Don't let people scare you away with all the fancy terminology. Another word for this whole thing is called strobing, which basically is highlighting, same thing. So don't get scared and wondering what the heck is going on. And I like using these little brushes for my powder highlights. So I'm going to go in with the Juicy Guava highlight again. And I just brush it into the center of my nose right there. And if you ever feel like you've got too much, just take this little brush and blend it out. Blending is going to be your best friend. Blend, blend, blend. I'm so sorry. And then obviously I will go in with juice. So again, this brush, the same one that I used for my contour. This brush again, I use it for just about everything. And then just on the apples of my cheeks, dab it in. A little more if you need. And blend it out. So like I said before, blending is gonna be your best friend because you really don't want to end up looking like Neapolitan ice cream on your face. or like racing stripes. So if you find that you have any blemishes anywhere, take your concealer, and if you follow my page, I did do concealer tips on there a little while ago. And one of the best ones for me with the concealer that we have is if you find a spot, which I know I have one right here. Ours are nice and creamy, so I'll just dab it in there, and then I'll let it kind of soak in. And then I'll go back to it later and blend it out while all the oils have kind of evaporated, all the moisture is gone, and then it just blends in really, really nicely. So what else do I need for an everyday look? Okay. So I'm going to go in and contour my nose, which I don't do this every day. It's just when I'm feeling like I want to glam up. So the main thing to remember is you want to continue going from your brow and bring it down to create the pinched straight look. So we'll go with one side. Now I'm using just the same shade that I used to contour the side of my cheeks. Normally I would use Hazelnut because I find it's a little on the warm side. But at least you guys get the idea. I would just definitely highly recommend using Hazelnut as this one. So you can see that. And again on this side, bring it up. So now you look like a really pinched nose. And there's a fuzz on my nose. Got it. And then again this brush, and just blend it out on the sides. Don't go over the part that's already been highlighted. And you can leave the highlight for after as well if you feel more comfortable doing that. But I'll often just take the sides of the brush and blend it out. And then I can take a little eyeshadow brush and just blend out in this corner so that I don't have racing stripes. Nobody wants racing stripes. And just work your brushes however until you get it blended to how you like it. Sometimes I'll take the Beauty Blender and go in there and just soften the edges. And if I find that it's too dark, no harm done, go in with a light powder and just blend it underneath that line. It's all about just blending and working until you are happy with your finished product. You don't have to nail it the first time every single time. That will come with time. Oh, the smoke. Goodness. I like doing powder contour because it's kind of eliminating a step of, I don't really need to go in with anything else after this. If you do cream contouring, you need to set it and do a whole bunch of extra steps with it. So most of the time I just end up doing a powder contour. So yeah, this would be my finished look of my everyday. If I feel like it's a super humid, oily day, I will finish it with finishing spray. And we have an amazing finishing spray. I believe it's made by Skindinavia, who is actually the #1 selling brand in all of Canada. So that's super exciting. So I'm going to cough one more time. Just going back into this spot here. Taking our foundation brush. That's okay. So yeah, you can see that really blended out in really nicely, and then you'll just want to take this brush again, set it with the powder to match your face. So the rule of thumb with choosing a color that fits or matches your skin tone is never to go more than 2 shades lighter or darker. And for the most part, I just use powders, and I'll pick one of the lighter ones as my highlight shade, the darkest one as my contour shade, and then I will use, I believe it's beige one as my all over. But we when I'm doing makeovers for people and they're having an event or something, weddings, whatever you want to call it, wherever you're going, the translucent powder is really, really nice. It's got little microspheres in it, and they bounce around on your face like disco balls, creating a very polished satin effect and holds your makeup in place. So I'm doing another step. This isn't for every day. Well, you can do it for every day, but I don't personally do it. It's just for those times where I want the little added extra. So it just really softens everything up and blends it and gives you an all over, I almost want to say velvet. It's kind of like velvety satin, but and then our lovely finishing spray, and I should be good for the day. So another trick for those of you who are wanting to glam it up. So when I'm doing the makeup where I want it to last from like 9 a.m. to midnight, I will put on their moisturizer, and then I'll go in with, once that has set in, I will go in with CC cream. No, sorry, primer first, and then CC cream. And then I'll spray them. Let that dry. And then go in with foundation. Spray them again, and then I'll go on and do the contouring and finish up their eye look and whatever else, and then at the very end I'll spray them one more time. And they're usually good for the entire day without any issues. So that's basically your contouring 101 with a little added glam. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you have any questions, well, you know where we are.
Okay,
I think it's almost dead.
I know.
Do it.
Hopefully it's saved.
Okay, we can add more layers. Can you see the difference in